The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Oh, it was a massive moment.
I mean, in New York City, money can buy you a lot of things, right? Penthouses, private jets.
Sometimes even politicians, honestly.
Exactly. But in 2026, not even $1 billion could buy you a pass for a 17-year-old at the Met Gala. Well, unless your name is Nicole Kidman.
Right.
Welcome to StarScope Report. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Jamie. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame. And today's deep dive is going straight to the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We're unpacking the glitz, the heavily policed regulations, and this is the crazy part, the surprising teenage rule breakers of the 2026 Met Gala.
Because that is the real story here. The theme was officially costume art, but the undercurrent was all about power.
Yeah, and we have a massive stack of sources to get through today. We're pulling from reports from E! News, Just Jared, W Magazine, Parade, Reality T, TMZ, and Tyla.
It's a lot of ground to cover.
It is. So let's jump right into the headline that basically hijacked the entire night. Sunday, Rose Kidman broke the rules at her very first Met Gala.
She really did. And I mean, the tension between the prescribed theme and the actual human drama unfolding on those steps, that's what makes this event so culturally massive.
Right.
Because we are looking at, arguably, the most tightly controlled, micromanaged red carpet in the entire world.
Oh, absolutely. Anna Wintour has engineered this thing to be basically impenetrable.
Yes, and yet the moments that dominate the conversation, they're rarely the dresses themselves. It's the moments that disrupt that absolute fortress of control.
Which brings us to Nicole Kidman and her 17-year-old daughter, Sunday Rose Kidman-Urban. They walked the carpet together, and, I mean, the visuals were just stunning.
Oh, gorgeous. Nicole was in this ruby red custom Chanel sequin gown.
By Matthew Blasey, right?
Exactly. It had these dramatic feather accents. And then Sunday Rose, she looked like an actual walking Monet painting.
Yeah, and that mauve and lavender Dior gown.
Designed by Jonathan Anderson. It had this peplum bodice and these, 3D flared raffia flowers all over it.
It was critically acclaimed all around. But underneath all the tailoring and the flashbulbs, they were shattering a heavily enforced rule right in plain sight.
A massive rule. The Met Gala has a notoriously strict 18 and older age limit.
Yeah. And Sunday Rose is only 17.
So just her presence on those steps sent a huge signal to anyone who understands how this event works.
Right, because it's like bringing your teenager to an ultra-exclusive, adults-only VIP club just because, I don't know, you own the place.
That's actually a pretty good analogy. Wintour's guest list isn't just a fun suggestion, It is a meticulously calculated algorithm.
It really is. It makes me wonder, does bending the rules for certain celebrities undermine the prestige of the event? Or does it just prove that true power in Hollywood means the rules literally just don't apply to you?
Well, to bypass a rule that is typically non-negotiable, you need a very specific mechanism of influence. And in this case, it's what we can call the co-chair loophole.
The loophole.
Right. Because Nicole Kidman wasn't attending simply as an A-list invitee this year. She served as a 2026 co-chair.
Alongside some heavy hitters, too. Beyonce, Venus Williams, Anna Wintour herself.
Yeah, with Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez Bezos as honorary chairs. And that title of co-chair, it's not just ceremonial. It carries genuine operational authority.
So they're actually making decisions.
Exactly. They are actively involved in the infrastructure of the evening. They curate the menu to fit the theme, consult on the interior design of the museum,
And oversee the guest list.
Bingo. When you hold that much equity in the event's production, Wintour's rigid age restriction suddenly becomes flexible.
Wow, so it's just the ultimate flex of institutional power.
Basically, yes.
But, Sunday wasn't the only underage VIP to crash fashion's biggest night.
No, she wasn't.
And we are going to get to that other shocking debut in a minute. But before we do, this whole co-chair loophole really makes me want to look closer at why this age rule even exists in the first place.
It's a fascinating history, honestly, because the Met Gala wasn't always an adults-only space.
Right. If you go back through the archives, teenage stars used to be there all the time.
Totally. Elle Fanning walked the carpet at 13.
13.
Yeah. Haley Steinfeld went at 14. And, Jaden and Willow Smith basically grew up on those steps.
So what changed? Why the sudden crackdown?
Well, the crackdown was a direct response to a very specific institutional panic.
Mm.
The real turning point was the 2018 Heavenly Bodies Gala.
Okay, 28.
That was the year the 18-plus mandate became official policy, and they enforced it ruthlessly.
Oh, I remember. Maddie Ziegler publicly confirmed she was turned away at the door.
Yeah.
And she was, what, 15 at the time?
Exactly. And the official line from the organizers was just that the event had been deemed inappropriate for minors.
Which is such a heavy word. Inappropriate. I mean, are we talking about the sheer avant-garde dresses, or was there something else happening behind the scenes?
It wasn't about the fashion at all. It was driven by risk management. The organizers were reacting to the massive fallout from the year before, the 2017 gala.
Oh, wait. The bathroom incident?
Yes. High-profile guests, Bella Hadid, Dakota Johnson, Marc Jacobs, they were all photographed smoking cigarettes in the museum bathrooms.
Oh, man. Those pictures went viral globally.
They did. And now think about that from the perspective of the museum's insurance underwriters. You have a sprawling, unpredictable party happening inside a building that houses billions of dollars worth of irreplaceable antiquities.
Wow, yeah. When you put it like that.
And on top of that, smoking indoors has been strictly illegal in New York City since 2003.
Right.
So when adults start flagrantly violating city laws and fire safety protocols in a museum, the liability skyrockets. Removing minors from an environment where unpoliced adult misbehavior is just rampant was basically a necessary strategy to mitigate corporate liability.
So the teenagers essentially lost their Met Gala privileges because the billionaires and the movie stars couldn't be trusted to follow the rules in the bathroom.
Pretty much.
That is just a wild shift from, like, fashion etiquette to full-blown corporate insurance panic.
It really is.
But Wintour's grip on this event goes way beyond just keeping kids out. Looking at our sources, the mandates placed on these global icons are staggering.
Oh, the rules are intense.
Like the no selfie rule. They introduced that in 2015.
Which Kylie Jenner famously shattered in 2017 with that massive bathroom group selfie.
Right. And then there's the culinary ban. Absolutely no chives, no onions, and no garlic allowed on the menu.
Wintour claims that's to prevent bad breath and to protect the couture from oily spills.
That is so specific. And plus ones. Strictly forbidden. Unless the partner is famous enough to secure their own separate invitation.
Yeah, you don't just get a +1 to the Met Gala. But honestly, the most intense mechanism of control is the seating chart.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Sylvana Ward-Durrett, she's a former Vogue director, she openly described the seating arrangement process as extreme power brokering.
Extreme power brokering.
Yeah. They spend months analyzing who sat next to whom the previous year, which celebrities have public feuds, who needs to be seated together to generate viral moments. And guests are absolutely forbidden from swapping seats.
Okay, I have to challenge the core philosophy here. Are these rules genuinely about logistics and protecting the art? Or are they just a psychological tool, like something Wintour uses to maintain absolute subjugation over the Hollywood elite?
That's a great question.
Because by making these global icons submit to a seating chart and a garlic ban, she proves her supremacy, right?
Yeah.
Making it difficult to exist freely in that space makes the space seem infinitely more valuable.
It functions as a brilliant psychological framework. The Met Gala's entire cultural cachet is built on its inaccessibility.
Right.
Every mandate reinforces the narrative that you are entering a highly curated, sacred environment. You are existing within Anna Wintour's specific vision.
So when the boundaries are that rigid, the guests feel validated just by being deemed worthy enough to adhere to them.
Exactly. She turns submission into a status symbol.
Which is exactly why breaking those rules becomes the ultimate status symbol.
Totally.
And hey, if you're fascinated by the hidden psychology and the invisible rules of Hollywood's elite, make sure you're subscribed to our feed. We've got plenty more deep dives into the mechanics of fame coming up.
Yes, definitely hit subscribe. Because we need to talk about the second underage rule breaker this year.
Yes. Because Sunday Rose was not the only one. 14-year-old Blue Ivy Carter also bypassed Wintour's fortress.
It was the second application of the co-chair loophole, but it brought a distinctly different energy to the red carpet. Blue Ivy attended with her parents, Jay-Z and Beyonce.
And Beyonce's return was a massive event in itself. She hasn't attended the gala in a decade.
10 years, yeah.
She wore this sheer, crystal-embellished Olivier Rousteing gown. It was designed to look like an anatomical skeleton with this crazy feathered train.
Stunning. And Jay-Z was in a sharp Louis Vuitton suit.
And right there, flanked by both of them, was Blue Ivy, wearing this crisp white puffball Balenciaga midi dress and a matching jacket.
The visual impact of that family ascending those steps is undeniable. But the body language is where the real story lives.
Oh, definitely. We looked at the synthesis from body language expert Inbal Honigman.
Yeah. She broke down the highly pressurized dynamic between Beyonce and Blue Ivy in front of that global press pool.
And what did she find?
Well, Honigman noted that Beyonce took these fearless, measured strides. She walked like a true royal, commanding the space with total ease.
Naturally.
But then, during an interview with Lala Anthony on the Vogue livestream, things shifted. When Beyonce started speaking about Blue, her chin physically began to shake.
Really?
Yes, she was actively blinking back tears. It was this jarring shift from an untouchable global icon to a highly emotional mother.
Okay, I read Hahnemann's analysis, but I have to push back a little here.
Okay, let's hear it.
How much of Beyoncé's reaction do you think is genuine maternal pride, and how much is a highly calculated PR move?
That's the golden question.
Because Beyoncé controls her image more tightly than perhaps anyone else in the industry. She knows she is visibly flouting the 18+ rule. So, showing vulnerability and framing it around a mother's love, doesn't that effectively preempt the public from criticizing the nepotism?
It absolutely does.
It humanizes a very elite display of power.
It's a crucial distinction to make, honestly. In the realm of elite PR, emotion and calculation are not mutually exclusive.
Right, they can be both.
Beyoncé undoubtedly feels genuine pride, but she is also acutely aware of the cameras. Humanizing her brand at the exact moment she is exercising immense exclusionary privilege, it's a masterstroke in reputation management. It softens the blow of the double standard.
And the public is incredibly savvy to that double standard now. The reaction on X, formerly Twitter, was instantaneous.
Oh, they noticed immediately.
Fans zeroed right in on the discrepancy. People were tweeting things like, "I thought kids ain't allowed at the Met till 18," and directly questioning, is Anna making exceptions?
The public is highly educated on Met Gala lore these days. They realized in real time that Nicole Kidman and Beyonce were both co-chairs, and both magically had their underage daughters past the velvet rope.
The democratization of pop culture analysis means the audience doesn't just look at the dresses anymore.
No, they look at the guest list as a data set. They recognize the mechanics of access.
Exactly. Seeing a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old generated these immediate, highly sophisticated conversations online about privilege and nepotism.
And the uneven application of Wintour's rules.
But, despite the fierce online debates and the millions of dollars in couture, the wildest part of Sunday Rose's night had absolutely nothing to do with high fashion.
This is honestly my favorite part of the story.
The glamour just comes to a screeching halt with a heavy dose of teenage reality. Wait till you hear what she had to do the very next morning.
The juxtaposition here is almost absurd.
So while standing on the steps, surrounded by the wealthiest and most famous people on earth, Nicole Kidman casually revealed something to Lala Anthony on the live stream.
Right, she basically outed her daughter's schedule.
Yes. She revealed that Sunday wasn't getting a pass on her normal life. Despite the late night and the Dior gown, Sunday was required to be at school for homeroom by 8 a.m. the very next morning.
8 a.m.
Nicole just laughed it off, saying they were keeping it real.
It effectively pulls the entire narrative out of the stratosphere and slams it back down to earth.
It really does.
It serves as a reminder that Sunday is navigating two entirely incompatible worlds. I mean, our sources from TMZ and others provide excellent context on her specific upbringing.
Yeah, she was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee.
And she has been intentionally shielded from the relentless Hollywood machinery for most of her life.
Which also explains a glaring absence from the family photos on the carpet.
Oh, right. Keith Urban?
He is nowhere to be seen. TMZ confirmed that Kidman and Urban actually split last June, and their divorce was finalized in January of this year.
So that completely explains why the spotlight was entirely focused on the mother-daughter dynamic and Sunday's debut into public life.
And she is actively building that public life on her own terms now.
She is. She recently launched a modeling career, walking runways for Miu Miu in Paris and starring in Dior campaigns.
Which perfectly explains her choice of designer for the gala.
Exactly. And Nicole has been very vocal in recent interviews, clarifying that she did not orchestrate Sunday's relationship with Dior. Sunday built that connection with designer Jonathan Anderson herself.
That's impressive.
And furthermore, Sunday has articulated aspirations beyond the runway. She cites the 2019 film Parasite as a major creative inspiration, and she intends to pursue a career in the film industry. She even calls her mom her biggest hero.
That's really sweet. But I want to turn this directly to you, the listener. Think about that massive whiplash for a second.
It's a lot to process.
Does knowing that Sunday Rose had to wash off the couture makeup, pack her backpack, and sit in a high school homeroom at 8 a.m. make this extreme display of privilege more endearing.
Like, does it ground her as a normal kid navigating an extraordinary circumstance?
Exactly. Or does the whiplash between Dior at midnight and a school desk at dawn just make the entire situation feel profoundly surreal?
Yeah.
Like it's completely detached from any normal lived reality.
It really highlights the dual-track existence of the Hollywood elite.
It does.
But, if we tie this entire phenomenon back to the core theme of the 2026 Met Gala costume art, we actually uncover a brilliant irony.
Oh, how so?
Well, the fundamental purpose of art is to provoke thought, right? To challenge established boundaries and to break the rules.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. By violating Anna Wintour's ironclad 18-plus mandate, Nicole, Sunday, Beyonce, and Blue Ivy weren't just attending an event.
No, they were executing a piece of performance art.
The audacity to rewrite the guest list on their own terms, to use their power to circumvent the system, that was the ultimate Met Gala flex.
It upstaged the actual fashion. It was a pure performance of institutional dominance.
Wow. That is such a fascinating way to look at it.
But it leaves you with a critical question regarding the future ecology of the event.
Right, because if proximity to power is the only way to bypass Wintour's rules, what happens when these teenagers eventually age into the 18-plus requirement?
Exactly. Will Sunday, Rose, and Blue Ivy inherit their parents' co-chair immunity, just floating above the mandates forever?
Or, once they turn 18, will they be stripped of that diplomatic immunity and forced to start at the bottom of Wintour's ruthless seating chart?
Forbidden from eating garlic, just like everyone else.
Exactly. Will Wintour snap the rules back into place next year, or has the aristocratic class of Hollywood permanently altered the DNA of the Met Gala?
We will have to wait until the first Monday in May next year to see if the fortress holds or if the floodgates have officially opened.
We absolutely will. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the hidden mechanics, the corporate liabilities, and the fascinating exceptions of the 2026 Met Gala.
It's been a wild ride.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in.
And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining. Until next time, keep your eyes on the guest list.